Hey y'all, it's Chris with CF Media. Happy New Year. Happy 2023. I want to do a quick little video for you guys. It's not a what's in my camera bag type video because the bag always changes for me. Literally, the bag changes for me depending on the job. But I do want to show you guys and talk to you guys about the cameras I'll be using in 2023, how I'll use them, what I like, what I dislike, and things like that. And if you guys want to see like more dedicated, like camera specific videos, let me know in the comments and I'll definitely make them for you. Okay. So, first up on the lineup is the camera I'm actually using to shoot this talking head piece, which is the GH5S. And spoiler alert, I'm shooting all Lumix. I'm using the GH5S right now, and I am blown away by this camera. I can't believe the image quality that comes out of it. I can't believe how well it holds up to some of my other cameras. I'll show you guys in a bit. Shooting in Vlog L versus full Vlog, like, I mean, it matches so well. Like, obviously the dynamic range, but like, guys, it's so freaking close, it's not even funny. So as a small camera that doesn't need a lot of rigging, that I could just leave on a tripod and just record indefinitely, like, it's an amazing camera. How I will use it in 2023, so when I'm shooting like sporting events, I've got a client that they have multiple types of content that I need to film for them, and some of it is sporting events. Like, I'll probably use the GH5S on tripod, and I'll be able to just zoom in and out, get some tight shots, get some wide shots of the action that's going on while I'm also shooting handheld on a different camera. So that's how I'll use it. During weddings, it'll probably be on a tripod as well, on sticks, either pointed at the bride or pointed at the groom. And I've shot this year a couple of weddings with it on sticks, and the fact that it doesn't overheat and it shoots 4K, cinema 4K, 10-bit, like, it's crazy. So highly recommend the camera. I think it still has a place in 2023. The next camera is my hybrid camera, which is the S1. My first camera when I moved over from Sony to Lumix was the S5. I wanted to get a different camera, a second camera, and I found an S1 used in the Facebook groups. And, I guess shout out to Lumix because they have built a real cool community. Like, the groups are super active. I like being active in the groups. I like answering questions when I can. I like trying to start conversations, but also, like, every Thursday you could tune in on YouTube and they're live streaming. Like, you could legit ask them questions about the cameras, and like Sean does like amazing job at answering your questions, which is amazing. But anyways, that's just a side note. S1 is my hybrid camera. It doesn't have the AA filter, so supposedly photos are sharper. I haven't done like a A/B comparison between this camera and like my other camera to see if it actually is sharper or not. I don't know, but in theory, right? And I like the form factor. The stabilization on the S1 is amazing. I personally like the tilt screen a lot more than I do the flip out screen, especially when I'm filming behind the camera. And how have I used it this year? I had two of these, and they were, for the most part, they were my AB interview camera setup. I've shot weddings handheld all day with just this, a lens, and a mic on top. Absolutely love it. When I'm shooting some events, like probably like social media stuff or event coverage, like, I'll probably have the GH5S on sticks as my B camera, and this will be my handheld camera. It does open gate. It's in 15-minute bursts, but it's there. And as long as you're mindful of that, it works. The camera doesn't overheat. Personally, I like the CFast card because, one, my CFast cards are big. They're 512 gigabytes, so I don't have to worry about storage. And two, when I'm offloading media, like, I could tell the difference between a CFast card offloading and a V90 card. Like, I could tell. So for me, I love the CFast. Some people don't like the SD and CFast, but I absolutely love it. When I'm taking photos, I just literally, especially on the CFast card, like, I just hold it and it just feels like it just takes photos forever. Like, I've tried to like see how many photos I could get out of it before like it slows down, and like I just get bored of waiting. Like, and then I'm like, oh, dang, why did I do this test? But anyways, this is my hybrid camera. So if at any point I feel like I need to take photo and video, like, this is the camera I'm grabbing. Okay, let's move on to the next one. S1H. Love this camera. Love it. I love the flip out tilt screen, and just the image that comes out of it is just so good. It's so good. Um, I mean, obviously, it's like very, 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 very similar to the S1, but That's just so good. There's just something about it that just makes it, to me, it just makes it a lot nicer than the S1. Even though it's like, I don't know, probably not everybody will see it, but having like worked with these cameras like crazy this year, like I could see it. Maybe it's just in my head, but I don't know. Anyways, how do I use the S1H? If I'm filming a wedding, I'm probably on the S1H, and my second shooter's on the S1. GH5S is on sticks. If I'm filming interviews, the S1H is like fully rigged up. You know, rails, map box, monitor, battery. It's fully rigged up, and it's my B camera. Right now, I'm using it with the 85, the Lumix 85, hoping to pick up a 7200 2.8, so have a little bit more flexibility for interviews. And yeah, it's a great camera. When I'm filming outdoor handheld work, whether I have to deliver like, you know, multi-aspect deliverables, this is the camera I grab because I know I can record pretty much all day long outside and it's not going to overheat. It records in 6K and like 6K open gate, so I could get my deliverables out of it. And I absolutely love it. I think it's still a very, very good camera in 2023, and it's gonna last a very long time. Like the image quality out of this camera is gonna hold up for a very, very long time. So S1H, I recommend it. Get it used if you can. Buying it new, it's still kind of steep, but if you find it used, like you won't regret it at all. And funny story, how I got this camera. My buddy Anson over at Anson and Co. Follow him on YouTube. He's amazing. He does great stuff. He had, this was his camera. This was literally his S1H. He messaged me one day. He's like, dude, I'm thinking of selling my S1H and trying to get an S5. What do you think? I had an S5 at the time, so that's why he was asking my opinion. And I was like, I don't remember if I even answered his question. I was just like, dude, I'll trade you my S5 in cash. Like, let's make it happen. We got to talking. Super cool dude. Super cool transaction. And that's how I ended up with S1H, and he ended up with an S5. And you could go find that video on his channel, all right? But I've been very, very happy with an S1H. Let's talk about the next camera. This next camera might not be for everybody, but for my case, I love it. And the way I use it, I love it. And it is a BS1H. So this is the S1H, but in a box. So I wanted to get another camera with the exact same specs as the S1H so that I can use two of the exact same cameras when I'm filming interviews. You know, my A and B cameras are like exact same image quality. And I went back and forth between, should I get another S1H or do I go for a BS1H? And ultimately why I decided to go for the BS1H was just the form factor and then the way it looks. Obviously it has all the same specs, minus the IBIS of the S1H, but you know, like the form factor of it and being able to rig this out and like just fully make it look like a legit cinema camera. That's why I went for it. Kind of vain. Yes, I know. It don't matter to a lot of people, and some might say that it's just it don't matter to clients. I get that. But yeah, like to me it mattered. And every time I've like pulled out my cameras and I've had them fully rigged out, you know, one can argue that the S1H rigged out looks like a cinema camera. Yes, it does. It definitely does. But I can't tell you how many times I've gotten compliments on this fully rigged out. People just like, whoa. And especially like when you're charging big bucks on some projects, like people want to see like the wow factor. This camera fully rigged out, like it gives you the wow factor for sure. The S1H fully rigged out, the wow factor for sure. But I like the form factor of it. I like that it's smaller. I like that it's lighter. I've shot a wedding on this, you know, and it wasn't even fully rigged out. All I had was a battery and a monitor and a side handle. And that, I mean, obviously no lens, right? So I didn't add as much weight to it. And I was very happy. I shot pretty much in 48 all day long and in 48 FPS pretty much all day long, a couple 24s in there. And like, you know, once I got to post, I was able to either slow it down or just like it didn't look as shaky as I had thought it was gonna be. But I I don't know if to say I can recommend this for everybody. I think if you're thinking between this and a S1H, like ask yourself, do you already have accessories or are you gonna have to buy accessories? Are you gonna really like try to use this as a handheld camera? or is it just going to live on a gimbal? I might lean towards an S1H for most people, but if you like, you know that you need this box format, then like, yeah, this is an amazing camera, amazing image quality, same image quality as the S1H, and I love it. I love it, and it definitely has a place. So this is my A camera during interviews. And if I ever needed a setup to where I needed more cameras, and I would be happy pulling this out, putting a monitor on it, a battery, and like, leaving it on sticks. um it'd be a crazy looking like little tripod camera versus like the GH5S, but if I ever needed it, I've got it. So mostly this is my A camera for interviews. All right, and let's talk about the last one. And lastly, this one, I had no idea, like, no idea what to expect, but it just has really surprised me. And it is a GH6. So obviously, I was shooting on full frame S cameras. Love the image quality, love Vlog, love the IBIS, love just the experience of shooting Lumix. Picked up the GH5S, and the GH5S kind of just blew me away how this little camera compared to my full frame cameras. So that's what like kind of like opened the door to like being open to a GH6. So in 2023, how will I use a GH6? So this is definitely my social media camera. Like if I'm shooting reels, like this is the camera I'm grabbing. I don't have native lenses. I've just got speed boosters. Like I told you guys earlier, what I'm using on the GH5S. That setup with the Metabones XL and the Sigma 24 to 105 is usually what I have on here. But I've also got the Viltrox 0.71 crop, so it gives me a little bit more range than the XL. But anyways, this is definitely my social media camera. I have not shot a wedding with it yet. I have not shot an interview with it yet. But the B-roll that I've gotten out of it is like freaking nice. It's got full Vlog. Dynamic range boost is fun. It's fun. I haven't tested it enough to be like, I like it, or I don't like it. But in my use case, like I do see the value of it. It's just, it's ISO 2000 kind of sucks a little bit. But, like today I shot some footage at church, social media footage, and I had an ND filter, and like keeping it at 2000, it didn't feel as bad versus some of my other ones where I had to like play with the shutter or the aperture. I mean, so yeah, I'm gonna have to keep testing this some more. But the image quality, definitely amazing. The part of this camera that kind of just blew me away, that I thought it was just kind of like I had no hope in, was the photos. Like the photos out of this thing look freaking good. Like obviously it's not as good as like the full frame, like talking about like, like bokeh or whatever, background blur, separation, compression, whatever you want to call it, but it's good. It's not real noisy, which it's funny because like you would think Micro Four Thirds, the ISO is gonna be a lot more noisier than on a full frame camera. Like they look good, and at least the people I've showed the pictures to, like they can't tell the difference between something I shot on this and something I shot on the S1. Like that says a lot. Maybe it says that I'm not really that good of a photographer. I don't know, but to me it says that just the image quality just holds up. So I don't have good, or I don't have native Micro Four Thirds lenses. Maybe that would be a separate test on its own. But at least right now, shooting it with the speed booster and a full frame Sigma lens, like it looks really good. Last thing I want to say about the GH6, probably from here on out, when I'm shooting social media stuff, especially for one client and that I have in mind in particular, the GH5S is going to be on sticks, and this is going to be my handheld camera. Unless I know I'm shooting in the dark, then I'll pull out the full frames. But for social media stuff, like these two cameras, freaking killer, like amazing cameras. So don't sleep on them. I know there's a future camera coming out pretty soon, but if you need a camera today, like don't sleep on this. And if the S5, whatever they call it, is not something that ticks all your boxes, like don't be scared of this. So I'm excited to find out what's coming. But as for right now, like I'm super, super happy with what I have. So to wrap up, summarize, the BS1H is my cinema camera. It's my A camera for interviews. The S1H is my B camera for interviews. If I'm shooting a wedding with a second shooter, I'm using the S1H. And if I'm doing any kind of B-roll for interviews, brand stories, I'm using the S1H. On higher end productions, multi-aspect deliverables, S1H. My hybrid camera is the S1. If I'm shooting any kind of like video, photos at the same time, I like the S1 for that. And the CFast card on it is awesome, especially for like crazy burst photos. Just for the heck of it, it's amazing. The GH6 is my social media camera, you know, filming strictly for like multi-aspect deliverables. I'll keep doing some more testing. I'll shoot a wedding with it. I'll shoot maybe some interview B-roll with it, and we'll see how it is. But for right now, it is my social media camera. And the GH5S is just, you know, it's my tripod camera for whatever I need it. If I need a second, third, fourth angle on a tripod, the GH5S is definitely right there to back up anything, right? Probably for the most part, when I'm shooting like social media stuff, the GH5S will be my B camera on sticks while I'm using the GH6 for all the handheld stuff, right? So hopefully this video wasn't too long, wasn't too boring. Not flexing, just want to tell you guys how I'm using these cameras in 2023. Yes, they are all pretty much older cameras except for this one, but they all freaking still hold up. So if you've been looking at any of these and you're wondering if maybe they're too old, like they're not. The image quality is still amazing. The specs on them are still amazing. And you know, regardless of whatever is next, you know, with the S5 Mark II or whatever they're gonna call it, the X, whatever, like at least for me right now, like I'm good. All right. So hopefully you found this video fun. And if you like Lumix stuff, please subscribe to the channel. I'll definitely be making some more videos around my use case of these cameras, some of the projects I'm working on, and video production in general. But yeah, Lumix, I'm sticking with you for 2023. Thanks for watching. Bye.